humanities, are branches of knowledge that concern themselves with human beings, culture, or with analytical and critical methods of inquiry. And it values the kind of the unique ability of the human spirit to express itself, right? And I think that really closely relates to the ways in which you approach academic research, focusing on our ability to express ourselves beyond our words. Especially, like we talked about, how academic research is commonly understood as aggressive, difficult to approach. I couldn't get my mom to read any of my research articles. But do you think that poetic inquiry has the ability to reach out to that layperson at large? Could we potentially bring research down to, and I say masses, I basically mean like non-academic folks,
Yep.
right? So people like my friends, if they ever want to read something by me.
Oh, yeah. Poetry is definitely art for non-academics. People respond to poetry. And I'm not just talking about poetry that you see in literary magazines. So what I'm referring to is like, think about spoken word poetry and poetry slams. And the fact is that poetry is vital in all of our lives. And I want to, Audre Lorde, is famously, wrote that poetry is not a luxury. And in fact stated, and I want to have this quote, poetry is not only dream or vision, it is the skeleton architecture of our lives. So we write poetry to understand our lives, express our experiences, and it's really a shame that the education system, at least in the US, I can't speak for anywhere else, tends to, kill some of our love, right, for poetry. I remember when my daughter was younger, it's like sometimes it's like she would, the wordplay, she would just make up, right, like rhymes and verses that were very poetic. And in fact, poetry is actually more popular than ever. Every so often, somebody will make some treatise like, oh, poetry is dead. But then you start to see, we have, poetry slams, spoken word is very much alive. Think about Instagram poets. And it tends to kind of resurge too when we think about political turmoil, right? So, which is, it's no surprise that we often go after the poets and the artists first, right? Because, they have a lot of truth to tell. So I would say that it's definitely is part of our daily lives. Right. And, it's very vital. And I will tell you that, yeah, my parents also didn't read my dissertation or any of that, but a lot of the work where I have used poetry in those presentations, I get emails and comments all the time where people are like, oh, that really spoke to me, or right. So it does get read more.